Craig Nash again. We'd like to welcome you to another It's a Grand Life. We're just so delighted that you're here with us today. And I'd like to welcome you to the country's fastest growing podcast, which focuses on the grand family. You've heard of Focus on the Family. We're focused on the grand family, and it's called It's a Grand Life. Our guests today are Ron and Cyndi Myers. They were with us last time and gave us just an outstanding testimony of what it's like, what some of the pluses and minuses are like when you're dealing with your grandkids and your big kids, and how you wrestle with all that. And it was just so great to have you guys on last time. And Ron and Cyndi, thanks so much for coming back again to share with us about your career down in South Florida for eXp Realty. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So everyone is moving. I mean, we're in Michigan, so all the time. In fact, in our sub right now, there's probably 3 or 4 families that are moving to Florida in our little subdivision. So, and you have an exploding business in Southwest Florida, with eXp Real Estate. But can our audience still move to Florida with rising home prices and with a limited inventory of Florida properties? What would you say to our listeners who are all over the country? What would you say to them?
Yes, you can. I mean, listen, it's a great time to buy right now because you're not in multiple bidding wars anymore, because the inventory is low, and so there's not all these choices, right? And it's changed a little bit. So we're not in bidding wars anymore. We're seeing an average day of market of 60 days. Okay. Unlike Michigan, where I don't get Michigan. I mean, why is everybody buying in Michigan and doing all these bidding wars and all that? Like, come to Florida. It's sunny every day. I mean, I don't know. You don't have to shovel your driveway. We do have free snow removal, no matter where you live.
With every house, you give them free snow removal?
Free snow removal.
So now our audience will love that. They like free things. But
yes.
But so really, you're not seeing the high spike in prices. Remember, I think it was a year ago. Have prices come down a little bit?
They haven't. Well, okay, let Ron talk.
So the answer to that question is yes. I mean, we were on a real roller coaster for the last 2.5 years. We were at places where we'd go in and do a listing presentation. We'd say, what do you want to list it for? Forget our analysis, just what do you want to list for it? Because you'll probably get it. And so, and a lot of that was because of COVID. And where the stimuluses that were put in place by the government, the low interest rates were around 3%. And people were saying you can work from home. Now, if you want to work from home and you're in Michigan and you had a choice to work in Florida, I mean, I don't think it takes too long to decide that you would pick Florida. And as far as I understand, a lot of the companies are moving forward. Even now, when they can go back to the office, they're still saying, if you want to work from home, fine. They found that it to be a little bit cheaper. Now, the numbers are this. The number that we want to look at is months of inventory. So for quite some time, we were in the 2s and 3s. Now months of inventory, a balanced market is when they're anywhere between 5, 6, and 7 months of inventory.
Right.
So if you're below that, you're in a real seller's market. And if you're above that, you're in a buyer's market. So like I say, for the most part of 2022 and 2021, we were in the 2, 3, 4 months of inventory. Now, when the government started raising interest rates, that cooled everything off. And a lot of people were saying we came into a soft landing here in Florida. So the prices started going down, actually. Okay. And to the point where we are now at about 5 or 6, depending on the area, in a 5 or 6 months of inventory, which is really getting back to a balanced market. Average days to sell, though, are also climbing. So we are at about 46 days to sell now. I think it's going to level out at around 50 or 60. But the other number to look at is during this boom, the ratio of sales price to the actual price that you paid was 100%. I mean, people were getting 100, even 105, 106% over. I mean, it was such that you could list a property on Thursday, have an open house on Friday and Saturday, and by Monday you had 3 or 4 offers, and most of those were above asking. But that is no more. We are now have come down again because of the interest rates and so forth, around a 97% ratio. So you can get a deal.
Well, a deal. Well, you're not getting half off of what you got last year, though, you guys. They're still listing them at the price like they were before. They're just not getting it. And they're not getting multiple bids here. Now, my friends that are agents in Michigan who, I'm watching and they're talking to me, they're still, and Craig, I don't know, maybe you've heard too, when you list a house, you're still getting multiple offers right there. And they're selling pretty fast. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes they're not putting a sign out, and we're not in Florida. We are in Michigan, and we still have our snowblowers. But yeah, the house right behind me, they put the house up for sale. It was incognito because there was no sign. I didn't know they'd put the house up for sale. And next thing you know, they had 3 or 4 offers and many people going through. I don't understand it, but we're seeing a lot of that. And but on the other side of the coin, houses are selling in our sub, and people are moving to Florida. And what you're telling me, Ron and Cyndi Myers, is that this is a great time to move to Florida. You're going to get a better deal on your house. As Lord willing, they're not going to raise interest rates again. But now, what do you say to the buyers that say, I like Florida in March and April, but the summers are too hot?
So didn't you have 90 degrees last week in Michigan?
We did have 90 degrees in Michigan. Yes, we did.
And I think we were in the 80s last week. So you guys beat us last week.
Here's what I say. The car cools faster when you turn on the air conditioning than the car warms when you turn on a car in a cold temperature.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
I can be really cool in 5 minutes, but it takes me 15, 20 for that car to warm up.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
If it starts at all.
Oh, yeah.
So if you start the car before you get in the car, you'll have a cold car, and then who's complaining, right? Get a remote start on.
And that's what we travel. We travel in the summer.
Right.
And the only thing about summer is it's longer here. It really doesn't cool off till November 1st.
Okay.
So it's longer.
And what would you guys say? I know you've done this hundreds of times with your clients. What would you say are the typical relocation costs to moving to Florida? What should a family project? Ron, I'm sure you've done budgets for your clients, and when they're getting ready to move from Indiana or Michigan or Ohio down to Florida, what can they look forward?
Are you getting a moving company to move you?
Let's say you have a moving company, and or else they're taking those pods and putting them on a trailer and moving them down. But
Cyndi and I used U-Haul, and I brought a van, and we didn't have much to move.
Right. So there's a lot of houses you can buy furnished here.
Yeah. People
are leaving their furniture. Or, if you're moving from Michigan to Florida, you're probably not going to want your Michigan furniture. So, our suggestion is less is more. No basements either. So even when I moved the first time down here, we had a big truck and then put it in storage until we found our place. When I'm taking things out of storage, I'm like, why did I bring this? So, you don't need as much down here for sure. And it's a different lifestyle. and everything's fresh and clean all the time. So yeah, it's shiny down here.
Well, that is why they should, anyone considering relocation to Florida should call you guys, because you just save them several $1,000s if they leave their Michigan furniture here. And if they bought a place that was already furnished with some minor modifications, they could be good to go. Well, what, let's say that one of our listeners wants to move their grand family down to Fort Myers where you are. How would they go about checking out the schools in Fort Myers?
Well, you can look online and Google that, but right where we live, it's school of choice. So let's say there's 10 elementary schools. You go to the school district and you have to name each one as your choice, all the way down to 10, 1 to 10.
Okay.
When I moved here in 2004, they built like 4 new high schools. Listen, it's not all old people down here. It's getting younger and younger. So you don't have to worry about your kids, not having friends. There's a lot of kids here, and they'll be okay. I found the school system's just fine. There is a dual enrollment for high school here, where they can do college courses while they're in high school. They have a couple high schools here where they have the IB program, where it gives you more advantages to going to Florida state colleges if you get into that IB program. There's private schools. There's charter schools here too, if you want to go into a charter school, which is, charter schools are public schools, but they say that the classrooms are smaller. I found, if you have a kid with a special need like ADD and all of that, you might want to consider public school, because public schools get more help, right?
Yeah.
So, but there's options everywhere.
So
here
you have those, let's say you have those 4 new high schools that you talked about that were just built. If I didn't want to go to my son to go to high school A, they could go to high school B?
Yeah. It depends on what area you live in, right? Okay. So what zone you live in, you'll have choices. And then the other, I don't know if they have this in Michigan too, some of the high schools here are not themed, but like some of them is well known for technology.
Okay.
Some of them's really known for the creative arts. And
they specialize.
Yes.
Now, I know you guys don't have state tax, right, in Florida?
Right.
Well, tell our audience, what are the property taxes like? They probably really sting you with the property taxes if you don't have state taxes, right? Or no?
We pay once a year with property tax, okay? So, what do you think property taxes are, Ron?
Okay, like
1.2%.
Okay.
Let's say 1.2.
Are they better than they were in the Midwest where you guys came from?
Better than where I came from.
Okay.
Ron's from Illinois, so I think so. We pay once a year, I think you guys pay twice a year.
We do, yeah. And
we
love it both times. It's really ironic. The first time was fun, second time was even more fun. But so you have.
I don't know if Michigan has this or not, but you can homestead your property, and a lot of people own dual properties. So they live in Michigan and they have a place down there. But they'll spend 6 months and a day down here so that they can homestead down here just because of taxes. I know one guy that I know lived in New Jersey, and he bought a condo in Estero or somewhere near here. He pays his condo fees, taxes, and everything with what he saves on the state income tax, because he's still working. So there are a lot of tax advantages. There's a rule in Florida that they can't go up more than, 5%?
I think 3%.
3% a year if you're homesteaded. So Florida does a lot for the homeowner down here that I don't think other states do.
And I know we've talked about Southwest Florida when we talked about where you guys specialize, but you can really cover the whole state, can't you?
We can cover the whole world.
Okay, with your team. Yeah.
Yes, we can give referrals. We know people really all around the world. Yeah. So anywhere you want to move to, if you don't have a realtor, you can call us, and we go to a lot of the big conferences and we meet a lot of people, and we write down our favorites for when somebody wants to move there.
Well, when you both moved to Florida, what was your biggest adjustment? And what do you tell
my biggest adjustment was leaving my family again.
Right.
I have adult children that still live in Michigan. My mom was still alive at the time. My dad is still alive today. I mean, I came back and everybody was together, and that was quite a great thing. And then when Ron said he wanted to move to Florida, we moved back to Florida. So, and
you said move to Florida.
I agreed. Yes. But it's a struggle, you guys. I mean, but listen, Spirit Airlines, I know a lot of you guys are down on Spirit Airlines, but hey, I flew last month for $30 round trip. So you can get direct flight to go see those other kids as often as you want. And there's FaceTime.
That's the female version.
Yeah.
The male version is that I feel like I'm on vacation every day and I'm working. I mean, this area makes you feel like our little community here, we have a resort style pool. I've got golf, pickleball. I mean, we live in a very active community, needless to say, but there's so much to do around here. And then with an hour or two drive, you're not far from Walt Disney World, or you can go to the Florida Keys, you can go to the Everglades. I mean, there's so much to do here. Downtown Fort Myers is a great area. So,
Naples
and then
is
the
a half
beach,
hour away,
But I felt like I've been on vacation for the last 7 years. And
well, you have. It's you guys are living the life there. I mean, so if folks call you and they're interested in finding out about relocating to Southwest Florida, I think they ought to look for Houses with Cyndi and play golf with Ron. So
I think so.
We've done that before.
Yeah.
So the dad can hook up with Ron, play some golf. Cyndi can take him and narrow down the houses that may interest the mom or grandma if you're a grand family. And I know one thing, they'll take great care of you. And Cyndi and Ron, we just thank you so much for being our guests here on It's a Grand Life. And for our friends, if you just look at the bottom of the screen, you'll be able to find out how to get in touch with Ron and Cyndi Myers. And even if you have a question not related to Florida, but related to real estate, they can help you with that. And Ron, before I let you go, you put on a monthly market update, which I think our audience would really like to get in touch with you on that. How could they sign up for your market update?
Well, we have a Zoom link every month. Our virtual assistant comes up with that, but email me and say I would like to be put on that list. And we will make sure you will get an email with that link. We not only go through the update of the numbers, but every month we try and have a special guest to talk about the area. Our first guest was a mortgage person. The second guest was someone talking about the different golf memberships you could join. The third guest talked about boating and fishing. And this one last night talked about all the different shopping that is here in Southwest Florida, from high end to discount shopping and everything. So, and I believe next month we're going to have a pickleball guy talk about pickleball. So it's a very informative session. Only takes about a half hour. We do it in the evening, so nobody has to miss work or anything like that. And as far as property, also, if you are interested at all, it's really easy for us to put you on what we call a property alert. And you just give us some basic criteria of what you might be looking for, and we can automatically send you active listings that fit that criteria, and you will get them, be the first one if they pop up on the market. And you can watch the market when you look at these properties. You can see prices go up or down or whatever, and you can see what you could get for your money.
Thank you so much for being our guest here on It's a Grand Life.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for another It's a Grand Life. Remember to never waste your pain. God can use your situation to bless others even halfway around the world. Be sure and subscribe to It's a Grand Life on our Facebook page, as well as YouTube and any of the various podcast channels that feature the Grand Life podcast. When it comes to raising a grand family, remember the words of the Apostle Paul, who said in 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind, it always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Love never fails. In leading your grand family, it's going to take faith, hope, and a whole lot of love. Please reach out to me. I can be a blessing to you and pray for you, or help you connect to free resources that can make your journey a little easier.